Is racism still a major problem in the modern world? Well, I think it is. Why? Not only because of racism reported in the media, but also because of my first-hand experiences. So, what is racism? Racism is where someone treats another person differently because of their skin color, they speak a different language, or have different religious beliefs. Racism is known to cause feelings of sadness, anger, and depression. To begin, I would like to present the idea that there have been some improvements to our racist society. Of course, we all know the American minister, Martin Luther King Jr., who was an activist against racism. He once said,
I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Fortunately, today his dream is becoming more of a reality. Between 2006 and 2020, there was a 30% increase in black pupils going to university. In the UK, it is a crime to be racist to someone. In 2019, there were around 80,000 hate crimes in the UK. I think we need to talk about where racism mainly happens, such as in schools, entertainment, and on the internet. We've all watched cartoons, but during the 20th century, often cartoons had offensive stereotypes of people from different races. For example, Disney, Warner Brothers, and others. How many times have you seen an offensive stereotype of a certain culture in these cartoons? We must understand the impact this has on young children. However, from the 21st century, there is little to no offensive stereotypes that I can think of. I'm sure you'll agree that cyberbullying is an issue. However, we should pay specific attention to racist comments on the internet and social media. Many people find racism funny, but it is not a laughing matter. In fact, making racist comments is a criminal offence, so we should encourage young people to take it seriously. And how we're going to do that? Well, we must speak up when you hear something inappropriate of a certain culture. We all need the courage to say that doesn't seem right and start a conversation. Nobody is born racist. People have been influenced to act this way by the society we grew up in and the people we socialize with. For example, if someone in your family says racist things while you're growing up, you might start to think that's acceptable behavior. However, racism can come from ignorance. Some people might not even know they are being racist and how they are acting. Let's educate our community. Today on Earth, people believe there is no longer any racism in workplaces or jobs, but that is not the case. Although people of all ethnicities are allowed to work, unlike in the past, there remains discrimination in people's salaries and work opportunities based on their race. So, where does racism come from and how did it start? A lot of racism comes from history. White Europeans oversaw much of the world and thought they were better than people from other countries. For example, during the 1800s, millions of black people were taken from Africa and transported by white Europeans to become slaves. Luckily, in the modern world, we don't have this harsh portrayal, but we still have criticism and discrimination. If we want to end racism in our community, there isn't just one right way to make a difference. There are many. The most important thing that you can do is to find some way to act right where you are. So here are 3 common questions most asked about racism, and I will say the answer to them. Number 1. How do you think we can fight racism in the future to improve our society? So, as I have mentioned, it is important to start educating children about racism from a young age. This can include teaching them about the language they use. Children must understand that this is not only actions that have consequences, but also your words. We should teach children to celebrate all different cultures so that we will create a more inclusive society in the future. However, it is not always as simple as there will always be racist adults in a society, as it's more difficult to change the attitudes. Number 2. Is there more than one type of racism? Yes, there is also colorism within communities of a single ethnicity, which is where people who have lighter and darker skin tones are prejudiced towards each other. As you can see, there are many complicated questions within our discussion about race in society. This is why it is so important to increase education on this subject. Number 3. Do you think social media has made racism more of a problem in our society? I would say there are two sides to my answer that I would like to explain. On the one hand, social media makes it easier for people to spread hateful racist comments because they can hide behind the screen rather than saying it to someone's face. On the other hand, people on platforms like Instagram have been fighting racism by spreading awareness in posts that support people of color and highlighting the issues they face. However, there are many more issues to talk about regarding racism. From each of these issues I have highlighted today, I think we can all agree that racism is still a major problem in our society.